Hello gamers, I appear before you tonight to present exactly what the title of this stream is. A highly detailed and particulate descent into madness. There is no other real combination of words that can describe the sheer amount of hot, terrible, stinking takes that went into this. The sheer amount of time and effort and thought that was put into this. And how much contradictory information, I guess? Contradictory thought that is nothing short of insanity. That is this document. I just realized I haven't set up this. Let me just grab it real quick. Alrighty. This is a little awkward. Oh no. Okay. I'm having a little difficulty. Give me a second. All right. This is it. Let me just close this. Oh man. This includes every character and the Toho project from PC 98 to 17. And I think it shows it includes ones that don't even show up in canon, like in the games. It should include 99.99% of manga characters. And it's just full of crack theories on how they are connected. For the last 3 days, I've spent sleepless nights and bloodshot days constructing this carefully with the help of my fellow scholars. And pretty much all of this is probably wrong. As you can see, there are images in the center area, and that's because we haven't gotten to the outside area yet. But man, we have a mind-melting mess here. And as you can see, some areas get a little bit complicated. Maybe one day I'll have a promising future as a highway engineer, but today is not that day. Furthermore, another thing I want to say is this is well, obviously, if you were to take Toho from an absolute purist standpoint, this would not work for you. Toho is probably very different from everything presented here. This is more of the Scarlet Seeking Arrow canon, which is my headcanon, along with some other people who helped me along the way. Some people who know Toho better than me helped me out on this. So one of them was a big fan of PC 98, so we've got PC 98 characters scattered around. And then somebody else knew a bit more of Japanese folklore that my friend was able to contact, so they were able to fix up a few major mistakes, because I don't want to be misrepresenting things on this chart. That's really weird. Of course, there are various memes on this chart because I would much prefer if there weren't memes on this chart. To be completely honest, because I want to completely document everything that is Scarlet Seeking Arrow and how that works. But you know, for the sake of not going completely insane. There are a few memes here and there. As you can see, everything here. I've also... everything here with an image is from the first day. So I do have some placeholder images here, down here, and up here. And I've also got some really wacky images around here. Oh my god. How do I start with this? It's gotta be right here. So, this whole document started with the crackhead theory that the Hakurei Shrine God in the Toho project is none of those things. Also, this J means it's a joke. But there are probably far more jokes than things that properly have the J mark. But man. And the reason we came up with this theory is because my friend, who I consult for PC98 facts, who is a scholar, does not agree with the Yukari is a Maribel whoopsie theory. And so now we have... What the hell happened? Maribel is a Yukari fragment theory. And by god, I still don't know how I feel about it. I mean, this theory has been made to work. I don't think there are any discrepancies in it currently, but I am going to sit down and lecture about and be Professor Toho for today. The original theory is what's most popular in the fanon. We know that these two characters are connected, and we know that they're connected through Lafcadio Hearn, who is a real-life person. Lafcadio Hearn traveled to Japan in the 19th century, I believe, to discover some of their folklore, and published a best-selling book about Japanese folklore to Britain. And we know that these three are all connected. We know that when he went to Japan, he adopted a Japanese name, Yukari? Or no, Yakumo. Yakumo. He adopted Yakumo. Yukari is the color purple. I'm stupid. And the theory is somehow, someway, Maribel went back in time and became Yukari, or went back in time and created Yukari, or a piece of her became Yukari, or something like that, because we have documents that Maribel made that were discovered before she was born. So yes, that's that theory. But with this fragment theory, it's now Yukari created Maribel as a fragment to protect her from, or to protect as, like, you know, a backup Yukari, basically. And this backup Yukari is half human, so that she falls under the class of superhuman, which is important when we get to Lunarian stuff, I guess. Yeah, but Maribel is now a superhuman in this canon, and not pure yokai. And I'm gonna be completely honest, I'm not the biggest fan of this theory, but this theory being existing in place allows us to have this mess. This Hakurei Shrine God created all these things as a mess. It goes down. It goes all the way around. What we know of the Hakurei Shrine God in canon is that they are angry that they are not being worshipped, that they reside within the Hakurei, the yin yang orbs that the main character Reimu Hakurei uses. And we know those orbs are toxic to all life except for fairies. And we also know that it is We also know that Renosuke knows its true nature, but refuses to talk about it. And we know from Byakuren that this is an angry god. So our theory was that this is not a god, but some kind of angel, which I'm not even sure what an angel is right now because we're not sure what the universal will is. This area around here is very sketchy. This is probably one of the most incomplete. These two boxes and there are two boxes later that are just completely in question. But the Hakurei Shrine God is called Hakurei because it's the Hakurei clan that sealed them away and is guarding it. The shrine, the quote-unquote shrine, which is really just a seal. I would compare it more of a keystone if you know more Toho lore, and it's a keystone that basically says you are not allowed in reality. And it is a quote-unquote god because the barrier surrounding it is powered by faith. Right. And this angel is basically another inspiration of the guy who wanted the Maribel's a fragment of Yukari theory, because this man loves Kirby lore. If you know Kirby lore, you know that the main villain is basically trying to save everybody from the pain of existence by making them not exist. It's something like that. The Hakurei Shrine God in this canon is kind of disillusioned with existence and basically just wants it all gone. So yeah, let's move on to the creations. Of these creations, we have Shinkyoku, which is probably the best fit for this theory, as in all we know about Shinkyoku is that they're the embodiment of the yin-yang orb. And yeah, that's it. So it kind of fits that the Hakurei Shrine God created them. I just realized I need to put this over my mic so it doesn't pop all the time and hear my breathing too much. We have Mima, because Mima and Yukari, we felt that they should be connected. And then we also came up with this crackhead theory that Marisa, the current Marisa, and the original Marisa, we came up with this to explain why she looks different over time, because this is a quite radical change in appearance, from everything from the hair color to the face and eye color to overall design. Don't worry, Marsa's still Marisa. She's the same personality. It's just that she is going to be the future vessel for Mima. Spoilers. Lol. This whole stream is spoilers for if you actually plan on reading Scarlet Seeking Arrow, but you know, nobody's reading it, let's be honest. I am a nobody in the writing world, and the web novel is of terrible quality, and I'm late on chapters, even though I have them. I have chapters. I'm all the way up to chapter 11, and I think only chapter 7 is out right now. But, yeah. We've also got the lesser creations. That's gonna be a twist. But yeah, the magic stones, which even the PC98 Reimu is afraid of. The red creatures, which exist in the dream world. And yep, there's that. Other creations, we've got the Mishaguji. These are, I forget their lore, but just trust me, it fits, please. The Mishaguji were like curses upon the earth, right? These big ass snake looking asses that fed off of faith and shit. And then we have Ironyagokoro, the first Lunarian. I suppose that should be there with a question mark. Let's be real. depending on how this Hakurei theory goes. But Yun is pretty damn old, she's pretty damn powerful, and I'd say that, you know, she'd probably be on the same level as the Hakurei god itself, because the other angels here are all literal world creators, some of them at least, and Irin Yagakoro has presented herself to be on that level, above gods, creating entire solar systems. She's damn strong, like almost unimaginably powerful, just like everyone else in this list. So we've got other angels here from the PC98 series. Sariel and Shinki are obvious choices, but we've also got Yugen Magen, a biblically accurate angel, and Ellis. And now we get into connections. So Shinki is the angel of Makai. So she created that entire alternate dimension, and we theorize that Alice is her daughter, since Alice is the daughter of death. And because of the events of PC98, Alice and the others that were in Makai at the time were sealed away as it collapsed. In other words, the Alice that is in current canon is merely a doll, which is why I think this image is so fitting, and I'm so glad it exists and I was able to pull it off Google Images. Alice is her own doll. Among her other dolls, we have, you know, the usual Goliath, Orai, Shanghai, France, Tibet, London, Kyoto, etc., etc. I'm thinking Hisoten Soku would make sense if it was a collaboration with Nitori and Sanai, and Trump King is a doll, because what the else is Trump King supposed to be? Let's be real. What the fuck is Trump King? Some characters aren't here because they don't have lore. We had Kotohime up here at Universal Will because we had no idea what the fuck she was. She wasn't really related to anybody, so she just existed. There probably is a better use for having a character like that somewhere. But yeah, that covers some of the other PC98 characters. Also, if we go over here to this section, we've got the music CDs, the Maribel and Renko. Like 9 people have access to this document, but only like 3 people edit it, so I know who did this. Right, so Maribel and Renko exist in a little forward in the timeline, and they are members of, or future members of the Hifu Ceiling Club. So Mariko Usami is literally the founding member, stated in canon multiple times. And according to my PC98 expert, these were the founders, but that was corrected. I suppose our theory now is that these people inspired the creation of the Hifu Ceiling Club. And our theory is that the old Adam Bar, where the Hifu Ceiling Club visits often, is owned by Zune, and Zune overhears them and creates the Toho project. And now we get to this universal will. To explain that, I'm gonna have to explain how powers work in Toho, or not in Toho, but in both Toho and Scarlet Seeking Arrow. In Toho, powers exist, right? In Scarlet Seeking Arrow, they exist with purpose. In Scarlet Seeking Arrow project, the universal will is basically what decides what abilities people have, and it just decides on a whim, basically. It's, I don't want to call it plot armor, but it is quite a whimsical character, if anything, and you never actually meet it, but you know it's there. And if anything, the universal will is a self-insert. Like, that's the kind of thing it is. And self-insert as an author, and author as in, how can I make this an entertaining story that works? Anyway, of course, at the top of the throne we have our overlord, Lyrica. I'm not subscribed to her, I'll be real. I don't listen to her music that often. But, Lyrica Live is superimposed onto this Google image search of Lyrica, Prism River. And, you know, I mean, this makes sense, but, well, let's actually, it doesn't make sense. But, yeah, just as a meme, Lyrica's all the way up here. We have the Prism River sisters all the way up there. Now we get two fragments of the Universal Will. Universal Will's funny, so the fairies are funny, which is why they are funny fragments. And this is also supposed to help explain why the angels cannot physically hurt them, and they are immortal and literally avatars of the universe themselves. That's what explains that. Alright. Now let's get to, we've talked a bit about Marsa, and now let's talk about the Hakureis. So the original Hakurei Shrine Maiden, this is where shit gets cracked. They sealed away the Hakurei Shrine God, as discussed before, and they've also, you know, they also founded the Hakurei clan, and in this case, they were the one who finished off the fourth member of the four divas under the mountain. And eventually that leads to PC98 Reimu and current Reimu, which, you know, the previous Reimu has multiple fan names. In here I'm just calling her Reima. But there are probably better names out there. A lot of people have fan names for this character if they treat them separately. But yeah, that's how we're explaining the change in appearance between PC98 Reimu and current Reimu. And of course, if you're a complete purist, the theory would be like, oh, Reimus always look like this, and anything in the PC98 series is canon until it's retconned. But yeah, we have Genji down here. Cool dude. Supposed to explain how Reimu can fly, but if you're caught up with Scarlet Seeking Arrow, I have an alternate explanation. I made On Kamano a Hakurei because she's part of the shrine and the Hakurei clan. This is my personal crack theory. Hakurei clan isn't blood related, but to make Yukari look super evil, she's the one who finds candidates and basically steals them from their parents and drops them into the clan. And the one who chooses who gets to go is, I'm pretty sure it's, if I click on this arrow it'll highlight, oh yeah, the Hakurei Shrine God. You get to choose your jailer, I guess. Well, that was the idea here. Now let's talk about more PC98. Since I talked about the Oni, let's get to them. We've got Ellis over here. The Angel of Demons, I suppose. Her daughter is Koakuma. Just,
Yep.
that's what we decided. Which would mean she's technically on a higher tier of existence than some of the other cast of the Scarlet Devil Mansion. And another thing is Kurumi, the first vampire, was created by Alice. And there's a hidden connection that isn't here, but you know, we all know is there. That her husband is Vladimir, the other vampire. And at some point down the line, we have Remilly and Flandre. And Remilly and Flandre are... They're not the second generation down from Vladimir, because Zun has outright stated that is a lie that Remilly tells. But they're somewhere down there, which would mean Koakuma is an honored guest of the Scarlet Devil Mansion. Now we can get to Oni, who are... Oh my god, I went to the wrong place. So, I thought Oni were created by Alice, but they're created by the Hakurei Shrine God to punish humanity for existing. Which would mean we have several members of the Oni, which include the 4 Divas. 4 Divas are notably strong Oni who absolutely terrorized the fuck out of humanity for thousands of years until the Hakurei Shrine Maiden sealed one of them away, killed another, and disbanded the rest. I think other notable Oni are... There's one over here. Ah yeah, the Kishin. The Kishin eventually align with the Yama and become judges of hell, or basically the muscle behind hell. And what else is here? I believe there's something to talk about. Mine goes to Rema. Oh, I think Rema is the one who killed the unknown 4th member as one of her feats. Right. Wow. Holy shit. There's a lot of crack around here. Let's get to some juicy shit. This whole fucking mess that'll blow the brain out of anyone who doesn't know Toho already, or who already knows Toho. So everybody knows Irin Yagokoro, insanely fucking overpowered in terms of raw strength. Creator of the current solar system, even though she was born after Earth, which is supposed to explain why she was able to pull a replica moon out of her fucking ass and just said, oh, it was in storage. She has a replica solar system somewhere, and somewhere, like, holy shit. You don't fuck with this character. Who we know, you know, mentor to Kaguya, who is exiled on Earth. So we know, everyone knows, Moko's father was a suitor to Kaguya. I just realized that's a switch there. And here we have Chika Fujiwara Chika, right here, as the stand-in for Moko's father. And this is our theory. It's a common theme you'll notice on this whole chart is that shippers are fucked unless they want to ring that banjo. I'm fine with that. Fuck your ships. Alright? I'm sinking them all. I'm sinking as many as I can. I am the battleship master. Anyway, we just thought this would be a little more spicy. But what's even more spicy is that Moko's father, has a legitimate daughter, Fujiwara no Kazami, who is this and inspiration from someone else's headcanon, which was inspired by someone else's headcanon. We get this. Fujiwara no Kazumi's vengeful spirit is Yuka Kazumi. Fujiwara no Kazumi was a violent serial killer, and they were hung, and their body was hung over flowers. Those flowers took on his vengeful spirit and become the plus remember that when you feel scared friggin', never forget the times when you feel happy. When day is dark, always remember happy day. Also known as... this character somehow terrifies me more than Irin Yagokoro. And now we get even spicier. Ancestor. Two characters. Sakuya Izuyoi and Jack the Ripper. This is just alt art for Sakuya. They're probably not going to be twins. But yeah, this connection is a bit of a modified headcanon of what happens in Negapazi, which is a great Toho song by a great circle. Everybody should subscribe and buy their albums. But it's a completely modified version of that to kind of... it's weird to explain. I don't want to ruin it, because this backstory is really cool. But if you... like... how do I say this? This is a twist ruined right here, I guess, I would suppose. Anyway, and now we get the whole Scarlet Devil Mansion thing. Headcanon that Hong Mei Ling is friends with Flandre. Flandre, who has a connection with the new Marisa as friends, so this only friend thing isn't really accurate, but previous only friend. We know from canon that, from actual canon, that Sakuya Izuyoi feeds Flandre with humans, I suppose. And I think down here we can finally get to a bit of the last PC98 character that I haven't really discussed yet. We've got all the pieces set in place. So we know the sages of Gensokyo has made the loyalty of the dragon gods their own. Just now Gensokyo sages. Right here. Finally introduce it. So Gensokyo sages obviously created Gensokyo with their various abilities. We have, you know, Yukari up here creating the barrier, Okinamatara applying the forgotten properties, Irin Yagokoro creating the subspace, and Kasen Ibaraki, you know, doing some kind of nature shit, or maybe arranging with the Celestials and the Devils to go along with this plan. Among other sages, probably, that haven't been introduced, but yes, we're making Irin Yagokoro a sage. She's way too fucking powerful to not be. And yep, so... about the dragon god, Kongura is a real myth who serves the dragon god. And Hong Mei Ling, we believe, channels the faith of the dragon god, or has a lot of faith, which is her martial art. Which means, since this is Kongura, we have a very former ruler of Old Hell. That's where it was. But there is an absolute hatred from here to Hakurei Shrine God, which I haven't put in yet. That's gonna need to go in. Good thing I'm doing this stream. There we go. But yep, we got that. And pretty much everything else on this chart is as much canon as we can really fit in. Oh yeah. How could I forget? I got a piece of feedback that said, if you wanted to make a tragic story, or if I wanted to see a tragic story, I would have watched the Saturday Night News. Or if I wanted to be depressed, I wouldn't watch the news. But I don't know. Have you read Shonen before? Scarlet Seeking Arrow is a bit of a project of trying to present the Toho that I enjoyed, my own interpretation. And I really like shonen story, so we've got to have tragic backstories. And thus, Shunro Bansho, she has a song called Sword of Love, or some translation of that is Sword of Love. But in that story, Yomun Konpaku and Myon Konpaku are different characters, and that's the inspiration for this backstory. But yeah, in this version, they forge their own swords, and due to a tragic incident, Yomu kills Myon, and Myon becomes the spirit wandering around Yomu. Some people disagree with this, saying that maybe Myon was stillborn and that's how Hakurei half ghosts work. And I say no, because I think it's more fitting for the story this way. Every main character it's been worked into every main character's backstory that they have killed somebody that they didn't want to kill, and they have a deadly sin of regret. Or at least they believe they do. And Yomu will not be an exception. Currently we do have an exception in I have an exception in Sanai, but I'm working on it, and she will not forever be an exception. That will be changed. And oh god, Sagyoi Kashi. Yuka was born under it, which is why she has a similar power. That's how that's explained, and she sealed it away, sealing herself inside. But because of this deed, she has introduced Yukari into the Valley of Life, which is what eventually causes Yukari to kind of separate her ideology from the Hakurei Shrine God and begin to work a little more closely with the Hakurei clan. Alright. Oh, this is normal. Alright, let's get over here to the Mordias. So, oh wait. Should mention really quickly. Hideno Akyu, she uses the Buddhist technique that Yukari uses to stay immortal, or at least Yukari gave this Buddhist technique to her. I just, Yukari has so many symbols of gates and like 8 things, and I'm thinking that's a connection between Renosuke, Yukari, Marisa. The mini Hakuro has 8 gates on it, so I was thinking the fucking 8 tenets of Buddhism. That's a thing, and that's how Heida is reincarnating. Narumi comes in way later, and it's foreshadowed in Toho 8 that this character from Toho 16 was created by Marsa. Anyway, now we can get to the Mordias. I've ruined more ships. Mordia is the native god, which means out of all the gods, she has the most descendants. And what the fuck is this? Anyway, which means that, you know, a lot of gods of the earth, gods of the land, they are connected to Mordia. So this ship is ruined. So what's this doing here? Oh, that's not what's supposed to happen. This is supposed to connect here. Yasuka Kaneko is also a ancestor of Sanae. So Sanae is both of their descendants, which, you know, helps explain her overwhelming power despite only being half god. We've got the Aki siblings, they're around here. The theory here is Mordia Suako defeats the Mishiguji as a human and is able to garner faith and become a yokai, and becomes the first yokai based off of faith, which is why she doesn't have red eyes, despite Zun saying that, you know, gods have red eyes. That's the theory. Then we're also saying that Aya Shamimaru is a descendant of Yasuka Kaneko, half Tengu, half god, or something like that. Which is why Aya is a secret wind god. Of course, everybody hates Aya, as per usual. We have, you know, the whole Yokai Mountain thing, Kappa Society, Yamanba Recluses, and Tengu Society. They're business partners, and they are all allied with humanity, which I suppose needs to be said. I haven't really said that. And the Haida clan is the current ruler of the human village. Alright. And now we get to the mess that is hell. Alright, so Akashia Lapis Lazuli is literally new hell. She is another fallen angel in the angel category. Which is an explanation of her power. She, you know, rules Enma, which is not Hades, but an organization that includes the Shinigami, the Yama, and the Kishin. They abandoned Old Hell and made it a place for the unwanted yokai that are too troublesome to deal with, which includes the exiled yokai, Parsi, Kusume, Yamame. And the current ruler of Old Hell is Satori Komeji, and of course we've got the other residents of Old Hell. And Rurin and Utsu are her Shikigami, which is a bit of an explanation for their power. It's Shikigami in the same way Ran is a Shikigami, or Chen is a Shikigami, and that they keep their old personalities but they're empowered by their master. And now we get to Yatagarasu. We're making this connection that Yatagarasu was crushed when they were shot, or Yatagarasu crushed both when they were shot, who is Junko's son. And there goes the legacy of Lunatic Kingdom arc. Yep. Utsuo Ryuji freed Nue during that fight, and the sealed palanquin ship, which kicks off of the resurrection arc for the Buddhist faction and the the Taoist faction. And basically what's going on here, a whole lot of politics. What's going on here is a whole lot of power friendship. You know, the two flavors. Anyway, the Yama also found heaven, which includes the Hinawi clan, which exiles Tenchi Hinawi. There's that connection, and we've got the longest line in the entire graph right here. This is the biggest fucking meme. Shion Yorogami and Junko Yorogami are sisters. One of them's here, and the other is here. Which makes me really wish I could turn this whole thing into a globe, so all these lines that go from the top to the fucking bottom could just be shorter and not go over everything else and make this look like more of a mess than it really is. I mean, to be fair, we're kind of simulating human relationships in a human society, or at least people society, because some of these people aren't humans, but they act kind of like them, but they don't kind of have a different common sense. That is, Sanai says it best, you can't let yourself be held back by common sense, because, you know, common sense is based off of your existence as a human, and people don't exist as humans. Like, do you expect Fujiwara no Moko to have common sense when she's quite literally immortal and just wants to die? Like, come on, dude. And I think that covers this whole thing. We've also got the River Higan. So Kutaka is a chicken god who is an underling of Ikishiki and guards the River Higan. We of course got Komachi Onosuka as the ferry across the River Higan. And we've got Urumi, and that's not the right name. I'm just gonna leave a giant person here to remind me to fix that. I'll see it and be like, yo, I gotta fix that. We've got the whole Primate Garden arc over here. Keiki is a god of creation. I just connected her to divine spirits because don't really know what else to do with her. Created Mayumi as her lance corporal, and the rest of the Hanawa army. They're conquering the Primate Garden, which exists somewhere in hell. This is one of the big question marks. Where the fuck does this fit in with everything? And this is another big question mark. Where the fuck does the dream world fit in with everything? There's an easy way out where it's just like the dream world just exists as where you go when you dream, where your spirit goes when you're dreaming. But yeah, we have all the clans that are narratively important in that arc. And of course it comes down, connects into the whole Taoist thing and all that political drama, which I will not get into. Nue summons Mamzo, that's canon from the original. We have the Inaba, so Baki Usage, or bunny girls, are just called Inaba here. In the fact that, or in the tidbit that the Lunarians tend to just call them all Inaba, and Reisen is just a title for one that serves a princess, and Yudongin is a bit of a specifier that shows that she's serving Kaguya. Got Okinamadara and her two servants, Mai and Satono. Buddhist faction over here. Are we covering everything yet? Holy shit. I think mostly everything has been skimmed over. Alright, and at last we have this, I think it's just this top area over here. So up here we have the Prism River sisters, who are created by Layla Prism River as poltergeists. And I'm calling their band Stage of Sun because that's where they perform. who include Reiko Horikawa. The rival bands with Shouju Gigaku, which include Misia Lorelei and Kyoko, who is all the way down here in the Buddhist faction. Reiko teaches Benben and Yatsuhashi to control their energy. Of course, they were all created by the Miracle Mallet through Shin Myomaru's misuse of the Miracle Mallet. And I'm not forgetting that Isun Boshi stole the Miracle Mallet from the Oni. That's an important part of real life mythology that I will not forget. Because some of my lore buffs were pretty proud that, or at least a little overjoyed, a little ecstatic that I remembered Isun Boshi. Of course, we have Seiji Kijin, who everyone hates in lore. I think Seiji Kijin's really cool though. And, you know, this whole thing, the double dealing character arc, where we have the Grassroots Yokai Network. Yay. We got through it all. Remember I said there were two things that were big question marks? This is also a big question mark because where did she come from? Where did she come from? I don't know yet. I haven't figured that out yet. The other two question marks are the Dream World and Keiki. I also need to fix that because I'm forgetting the Stone Child who lives on the river Higan. Oh. But that's everybody but Kotohime and the Whale Girl. It's everyone in Toho, all put in a chart. Holy shit, that took an hour. Everything was really skimmed over really light. But now you don't need to read Scarlet Seeking Arrow, in case you thought it might have been good. Everything is explained here. Except their story arcs, and what actually happens, and what these lines mean, because these lines are a massive oversimplification, just kind of show where their relationships are, at least at the start of the story. Because by the end of the story, right, your main character will have interacted with all of these people. So, quite literally, there will be a line to, or at least an indirect line, to everyone here, from Renemu and Marisa. Ladies and gentlemen, the main character. Alright. Before we go, let's do one last thing. A duplicate document. Where we actually sort things out. You know, everything should be sorted in a way that really makes it make sense. Everything is now sorted in an efficient way, so that next time I explain this, it'll be so much easier. Holy shit, it's so fucking laggy. I don't think I can zoom out more than this. Everything is sorted so much better now. I think the images... He's just sitting at the bottom, he's just vibing. And of course there's some lines that weren't properly connected. This is a fucking disaster. Good night, everybody. Going back to watching Code